Hello, welcome back to Explaining the Code 26 Law. So, last time we did 1875 to 1986. That was the first episode. Then it was 1990 to 2006. And now it's 2016 to maybe about 2055. I will have a fourth part. Yes, I know I said I'd have only three parts, but the first video was about 10 minutes long, and the second one was like 4 minutes long. So yeah, without further ado, let's do it. Okay, so before we begin, the story's main character is born in 2012. That being Ted. So yeah. In the past, Kev sent a bunch of robots to kill Ted, but they never worked. They were either too clunky, so they didn't work, or they couldn't adapt to the environment. Considering they were sent from the future to kill somebody from 2012. In the storyline, the amount of robots sent back uh, goes all the way back to 2011, like 1 year before he was born. So yeah, they never worked. Anyway, so 2016. If you remember in the last episode, I talked about how Kev Bauer got sentenced to 11 years in prison. I was wrong. It wasn't 11 years, it was 10. So, what happens in the end was Kif Bauer got sent to 10 years in prison, and she gets out in 2016. So then she goes on a hunt looking for Enceladus. She eventually finds him, kidnaps him, takes him back to the old Enceladus Technologies building, and stuffs him in a wrist suit. Now, when he eventually wakes back up, he sees a note next to him that says, "Enjoy burning in hell, child killer." He didn't kill his child. Obviously, that's obvious. So he sees a note and is so angry by the fact that he's been trapped in one of his own creations and blamed for his daughter's death that he slams his hand down on what he thinks is the floor. It's not. It's a suit's thigh. And the suit's leg is connected to a bunch of gears in the animatronic's waist. So, if he hits a wire on the leg, what do you think's gonna happen if the wire's connected to the gear? Yeah, the gears start moving, and he gets the gears in his waist. It's excruciating, and yeah. So, he doesn't die from that. No, it takes him 5 weeks to die. Now, the 5 weeks, after, what? Kiv comes back, basically, and she wants to take one of the animatronic endoskeletons so she can have a go at rebuilding the suits and cause a bunch more chaos. So Enceladus wakes back up in the wrist suit and finds her and gets locked back in the building. So he bashes his head against, the suit's head, which he is trapped inside, against the door that he got locked behind. And little did he know, Kif had a bunch of tricks up her sleeve. That being putting a bunch of spikes to hold the head in place. Now, they're located here. Where I'm pointing my fingers, they are located here. So, what do you think's gonna happen when a bunch of sharp spikes from about 1973 go into a dude's skull? He dies. That's what kills him off. Until about 2023. But before we get to that, 2021. Now, if you remember earlier, in the first episode, Kif Bauer killed her entire family, apart from one person, her brother. Kif finds her brother and kills him. Now, she doesn't leave his body to decompose. She takes him and brings him to her lab, in which she turns him into Negligent Intelligence Cap Unit, aka Niku. So yeah, she clones a bunch and eventually just leaves them be for time being, in which she sends them back in the future to kill Ted. None of these robots worked when they sent them back in time, because they either were too clunky and they couldn't work, or they couldn't adapt to the environment because they were in a wasteland. And obviously, yeah. So, 2023 rolls around and Ted gets hunted down by these robots. Little did young Ted know, his older self from about 2072 comes back in time to stop it from happening. So in the end, he kills Niku and goes back to 2072. And yeah, so basically, Ted and his family get sent to Andorra, which later becomes Calamandro. Yeah. So 2024 happens and not much happens. There's only a couple more robots sent back in time to kill him. Those don't really work. Apart from one robot manages to try and kill him. Basically, one of the Niku models that was sent back in time had the ability to put stuff into people. So, this one had an immortality serum that was pumped into him. Now, obviously, if you've seen the episodes, if you've seen the entire series from season 1 to season 12, you'll know, in episode 6, season 1, he gets a spike stuck through his neck. That was the immortality serum. So, yeah. So he becomes immortal. 2026 happens, and not much happens. Again, same as 2024. And the year after that, 2025. Until July 26th, 2026, Cliff Bauer decides, I'm tired of having people make fun of me for who I am. It's time they learn a lesson. So she kind of gets a bunch of robots to just destroy the entire world. Now, there's 3 robots that really count. Those being the ball machines, the starers, which are kind of a reference to the Watcher, and the Ver 1. Not the Ver 0, that's created later on. Way in the future, actually. So, yeah. You never knew what happens, and it's shortly after that a group called the Left Hand Coalition, or LHC, is founded. And the whole mission was like, oh, we're gonna save people, we're gonna help them. No, that's what the plan is. And in 2028, Ted finally gets turned from a human into a cyborg by one of the creatures called Endike. And Cliff Bauer decided to make a hologram that could turn people into cyborgs. If you recall back to episode 1, there was a character that I mentioned called Endike Polar. So yeah, that's what happens basically. And yeah. So that happens, and yeah, he got turned into a cyborg. The next year, 2 major events happen. That being the death of his brother to Valentine Burkov. If you have watched Unhinged and Redractory, you'll know who that is. Valentine's reasoning for killing Ted's brother is, oh, I didn't know, I thought he was a machine. So, since Ted is a cyborg now, he has the ability to shapeshift his hands and arms into weapons. Now, through sheer anger, he manages to turn his arm into a sword and slash Valentine's eye. That's where he gets a scar. Um, and then the other major event is Ted finding Audrey. Yeah, Audrey isn't his biological kid. So yeah, uh, Ted finds her when she's really young, and all his other crew members are like, "No, no, you can't do that. It's against the rules." And Ted just goes, "Nah, screw you guys. I'm taking them. I ain't leaving them to die." Um, so yeah, 2035 rolls around, and that's the end of the 11-Year War. But there was a tiny little fraction of the LHC called the Red Hand Coalition, and that consists of, if I remember correctly, Tina, Lily, and another dude called Ruben. Ruben dies, and he dies to one of these creatures. Um, it's terrible. So what happens is, yeah, they all end up dying, apart from Tina. So what happens is, one of the other people dies to a shapeshifter that managed to clone themselves into one of them. So yeah, they die, and Ted and Tina manage to escape to California somehow, even though they're all the way in Calamandro. And they go to California, as Ted says, for memories. Or just memories, if you've seen the first movie. So, yeah. Then they manage to go back to Calamandro somehow in the span of an hour, somehow. Calamandro is located between France and Spain. And, yeah. So, they meet Kif, who was spring locked in one of the suits. The same suit that she used to kill Alice. So, yeah. Then the whole building blows up. And you might think that's how the story ends. Well, for now. Because this video is about 12 minutes long. So, yeah. See you later, guys. Bye.